Greetings, everyone. This is chapter 25 today. There are 4 chapters left of the book of Acts, and we're going to dive right in. Here we go. 3 days after Festus arrived in the province, he went to Jerusalem from Caesarea. Then the chief priests and leaders and the Jews presented their cases against Paul to him, and they appealed, asking him to do them a favor against Paul that he might summon him to Jerusalem. They were praying and preparing an ambush along the roadside to kill him. However, Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea and that he himself was about to go there shortly. Therefore, he said, "Let the men of authority among you go down with me and accuse him, if there are any wrong in this man." When they had spent not more than 8 or 10 days among them, he went down to Caesarea. The next day, seated at the judge's bench, he commanded Paul to be brought in. When he arrived, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood around him and brought many serious charges that they were not able to prove, while Paul made the defense that neither against the Jewish law, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I sinned at all. Then Festus, wanting to do favor for the Jews, replied to Paul, "Are you willing to go up to Jerusalem, there to be tried before me on these charges?" But Paul said, "I am standing at Caesar's tribunal, where I ought to be tried. I have done no wrong to the Jews, as even you can very well see. If then I am doing wrong, or have done anything deserving death, I do not refuse to die. But if there is nothing to what these men can accuse me of, no one can give me up to them. I appeal to Caesar." After Festus conferred with his council, he replied, "You have appealed to Caesar you will go." After some days had passed, King Agrippa and Bernice arrived in Caesarea and paid a courtesy call to Festus. Since they stayed there many days, Festus presented Paul's case to the king, saying, "There's a man who was left as a prisoner by Felix. When I was in Jerusalem, the chief priests and elders of the Jews presented their case and asked for judgment against him. I answered to them that it's not the Romans' custom to give any man up before the accused confronts the accusers face to face and has opportunity to give defense concerning the charge. Therefore, when they have assembled here, I did not delay. The next day, I sat at the judge's bench and ordered the man to be brought in. Concerning him, the accuser stood up and brought no charge of the sort I was expecting. Instead, they had some disagreements with him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus, a dead man who Paul claims to be alive. Since I was at a loss in dispute over these things, I asked him if he wished to go to Jerusalem to be tried there concerning these matters. But when Paul appealed to be held for trial by the emperor, I ordered him to be kept in custody until I could send him to Caesar." Then Agrippa said to Festus, "I would like to hear the man myself. Tomorrow," he said, "you will hear him." So the next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with great pomp and entered the auditorium with the commanders and prominent men of the city. When Festus gave the commander, Paul was brought in. Then Festus said, "King Agrippa, and all the men present with us, you see this man about whom the whole Jewish community has appealed to me, both in Jerusalem and here, shouting that he should not live any longer. I now realize that he had not done anything deserving of death. But when he himself appealed to the emperor, I decided to send him. I have nothing definite to write to the emperor about him. Therefore, I have brought him before all of you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after this examination is over, I may have something to write. For it seems unreasonable for me to send a prisoner and not to indicate the charges against him." All right, chapter 25 is in the books. It's right here in this book, but it's also in your heart. We'll see you next time. God bless.